The brilliant minds at Four Roses decided to put out all their recipes in this single barrel variety. So we have to have a recipe battle here on Drams for Dummies. Next round up, OBSF. Let's see how it stacks up with the others so far. Check it out. Hello and welcome back to Drams for Dummies. I am the king of all the dummies, Brett, and we are in the middle now of our Four Roses recipe battle. I didn't spend a lot of time on the name. Really should have come with a better, more catchy name, but that's where we are. Recipe battle. Again, super fast. Four Roses has 10 recipes. They have two different mash bills. They have a low rye and a high rye. The letters up here, the O and the S, the first and the third letter are the same on all the recipes. So why do we have those? I don't know, but it's part of the lore and fun of Four Roses. The second letter is the mash bill. B, in this case, is the high rye, 35% rye, and then E is your lower rye, I think like 20% rye. And then the last letter, in this case, F, is the yeast strain. They have 5 different yeast strains. So very unique from as far as Four Roses goes to have these 10 different combinations, and super cool that they have that, and they use them in different ways. They blend them in different ways, small batches, they're limited editions. Their single barrel bottle for a good while now has just been the OBSV recipe. But the geniuses over at Four Roses went, we can make a lot more money with these dorks like this guy and some of you guys if we put all the recipes out in single barrels and let people see which one their favorite is. And so therefore, I'm going to sneeze. I just had a fit of sneezing, which I'm not going to show you guys. But brilliant by the Four Roses folks to say, let's give everybody all the recipes by themselves to see what we like. Therefore, dummies like Brett will give us at least $500, $50 a bottle to get all the recipes. But here's the even bigger catch. They're single barrels. Oh, so every bottle that you get of this, in this case, the OBSF, can you see that properly? Whoop. Is going to be a little different because they're single barrels. So now you have to look down here and go, what rick house am I in? What floor? Yada, yada, yada. And now it turns into a wild turkey, Russell's sort of game of which is the best rick house, so now let's just say I love OBSF, but now I have to hunt for the OBSF in the rick house that everyone's saying is the hottest rick house. Now I got to go get 6, 7, 8, 10, 20 bottles of OBSF. And now they've got $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 from me, all in the vein of these little $50 bottles. It's an amazing situation that they've provided for us as dorks, but also it's a great moneymaker for Four Roses. Kudos to you, Four Roses. All right, first nose. Really interesting. Let me take a quick sip because I know the sip will inform the nose. They'll line themselves up that way. Okay. Not judging on that at all. At first glance, I'm going to go back in here. This one's hitting me better than the OBSV. So the F, yeast, is doing better things for me than the V, yeast. Yeah, agreed. The high rye punches through. It is punchy. It's not smooth and creamy per se. It is pretty bright. But where the V in my mind was bright in that kind of cinnamon sizzle, that like bright candy cinnamon level, this one is brighter in more of the minty rye space, which mint comes back down into levels of things that I like. I love the toffees and the caramels and the rich. I like a moderate amount of oak. But if it gets into chocolates and coffees, that rich noses and palates, I love that. So mint can come back down into that earthiness, a little bit more the earthy versus just that bright candy, punchy cinnamon. So I like this on first glance. Um, for a score, I like this. This is really good. Um, it's at least good. But I'm going to give this an 8 on the nose. That's a really good nose. So we're going to go 8 really good. If I remember my score system correctly. All right, so 8 really good. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, sometimes minty, sometimes earthy, sometimes bubblegummy. It's just a little different. All to say that I like it. It's not the bathe myself in it that the OESK was. I'm just looking at my scores because I'm keeping it all together. But it's really nice. So let's see what the palate's doing. Okay. 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 I see you, Four Roses. I see you, F. I see what you're doing, F. I don't know what the F. I don't know what that yeast is, but proprietary. But that palate was richer and more viscous. So I've been dinging the palates on the prior 2 recipes because I think when they water it down to 100, it loses me being a proof whore, liking barrel proof, liking it straight out of barrel, liking an oily, viscous type drink that I think a lot of us do. I think the others have felt watery. This one doesn't feel watery. This one feels like it's got weight when it gets in the mouth. It feels like it coats nice, and it feels like where the other ones on the back end kind of go away, this feels like it sort of holds together. It doesn't feel complex. It doesn't feel like it's got a million layers. It's not zipping and zapping and zigging and zagging in the palate, but it does feel like it's doing everything you want a nice, solid 7 to 9 year 100 proof bourbon to do. So I think in comparison to the other 2 so far, and at first drink, I'm going to do it again, but I feel like this one's winning the palate battle. I'm liking this so far. This is like a nice jam. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. This is the best. This is the best palate so far by far. Um, it's buttery, it's rich, it's creamy. It's got that toffee level quality to it. Whereas we're in the high rise, so the nose can bring some of the brightness. I don't feel like that brightness is coming into the palate. I feel like we get that for fun in the nose, which is nice. And in the palate, we just sort of smooth and round out. Again, not being high proof, it's not a wild ride. It's not giving me a lot of zigs and zags, but it is coating the mouth, filling the mouth, and staying rich from start to finish. That's the first of the recipes that have done that for me. Whew. This would go to a 7.5, but then if I have to round, I got to come back to good. It is a good palate. It's hard to give it the really good, just because probably for me the 100 proof sort of cuts that out a little bit. But it's, if anything, we're on the high side of good, trending to really good. If I was a little nicer human, I could maybe go to really good. If in this drink for the palate or for the finish, I decide that I have shortchanged it, I reserve the right to adjust my palate score. But right now we have an 8 on the nose, we have a 7 on the palate. Let's see what the finish is doing. Yeah, the Four Roses single barrels are getting to be predictable in the finish, but this is on the higher end of that. That is, they don't we don't get to the finish and it twists and turns off of that. Again, 100 proof is probably a big part of that. Whatever's happened at the back end of the palate, the finish just kind of continues and it just sort of stays. So whatever experience you're having in the palate, it's going to kind of keep happening through the finish. And then when it decides to dissipate and go, it's going to leave you with a little bit of that wet dog at the end. It's not really what we want. which, that's just what it is. I think that's where the 100 proof comes in. I think that's where the watering it down comes in. It's cutting the back end of the finish off. It's cutting its legs off. But let me see if we are a 6 or a 7 on this finish. 7 would be, that's generous. I feel like we're in that 6.5 range. Yeah. We'll go 6. So again, a point higher than the other 2 recipes. Everything's been higher than the other 2 recipes. Nope, that's not true. The nose was 1 point less, but the palate was higher. Oh, so this is going to be a tie? Ah, son of a biscuit. All right, so final score time for the OBSF recipe of the Four Roses single barrel battle skirmish fight to the, I don't know, whatever. Nose, 8. Really good nose. Really, really good nose. 7 on the palate. It's a good palate. It's rich. It's viscous. It's not complex, but it doesn't really, it doesn't do any twists and turns. But it over the other 2 recipes I've had so far, it coats the mouth better. It fills the mouth with flavor better. It's just an overall better experience. It is a good, trending to really good, but it's going to stay on good palate. And in the finish, it lets the palate do what it's doing. It doesn't change its direction. And then it just, by the time it decides to leave, it kind of goes into a meh, not my jam kind of thing. But I'm going to say it's a pretty good finish, because finishes they're hit or miss anyway. It doesn't do anything to turn me off by any stretch. So we have an 8 on the nose, a 7 on the palate, a 6 on the finish. That is a 15-21. Is that correct? You're 1 lower, you're 1 higher, you're 1. Okay, yeah, I think that's right. That's a 21. I don't even need the calculator because I'm that smart. That is a 7 bottle. Squarely a 7, no rounding. That is a full 7 good bottle. OBSF, good bottle. $50. Cool bottle, cool cork. 7 to 9 years, 100 proof. That's pretty good value. I mean, this is the first of the 3 that I would say, would I buy another bottle if it did that exact same thing at that same price point? This is the first one I would say yes. We are definitely, and the OBSF at this point is in first place. We will see how everything else shakes out. I'm guaranteeing with 7 more to go, we're going to have some ties. But maybe the top end stays here. Maybe this is the winner. We just saw it. I don't know. But thank you guys for being a part of this journey. All of the dummy journeys that I'm doing, but especially this new Four Roses recipe battle journey. Love what you're doing. As long as what you're doing is you're being a nice ass person to every single person around you, regardless of their race, color, creed, and all that jazz. You're just a good human being, right? You're a good human being. You're not an asshole. And what makes you truly not an asshole is that you're liking and subscribing to this channel, and you're sharing it with your other dummy friends who love whiskeys who are also not assholes. Love you guys. See you next time.